So, hey guys, Chauzu here. So all the Kisna news just dropped, but what also dropped was a random announcement of buffed uh, abilities in Pyro Rumble. So that's what we're going to look at in this video. There's like 8 units getting buffs. 3 of them are lost, but it is what it is. So let's take a look. First, we have V5 law, right? Yes, this is V5, pretty sure. And the change here is first for the special. Now, he targets 3 enemies for 100% chance of paralysis. Before, it was 2 strength enemies. So that's nice, but the paralysis wasn't really a big deal of his kit, for sure. The big deal is the damage. So I don't really think this is a big change to him. And neither is the fact that his attack buff got buffed from level 5 to level 6. So yeah, Law not really viable now. His main issue is that he's a cerebral and quick focus unit, but quick doesn't really have any more good cerebrals to use. Not enough to make a team at least. V2 Sanji. Now he targets 2 high attack enemies for a lot of damage. Actually, like, this looks interesting to try, and fighters are getting better. My main issue is that Sanji's rumble ability isn't really that great. It's just speed up and attack up. Usually you want your PvP units to have some defensive capabilities as well, unless they have a broken special, which Sanji, he does not. So now, don't really think that that's a significant update, but this is probably the most significant update for sure. V2 Garp already got a buff. That's pretty insane to me. He is a very new unit, but I don't disagree with buffing him because he's not good enough. Let's just face it. But he really got the buff he needed. So first, he still targets 2 enemies for damage, up to 2 times, but before, they had to be 100% charge special. Now it's just high special. So this means that you're guaranteed to hit. Like, it's not like 2 enemies always have 100% special CT. But there are always 2 enemies with high special CT. It depends a bit how it works, like, do they target the highest or do they have to be past a threshold? That's something we have to try, I guess. And yeah, he now has to be 70% or below for his counter instead of 50%. So basically, Special Just is more reliable than before. But the biggest buff is to the Rumble ability. They buffed it so the def up is a bit higher, but they added HP up. So yeah, that's a big deal, of course. Now he does both HP up and def up, and he can also buff himself with attack and def. But yeah, having both def up and HP up is a game changer, really. So it's the biggest buff, and I think he's viable for fighter teams now, but I'm not sure if it really makes fighter teams a lot more viable. But I will definitely try it now. I never tried fighter teams, but now it looks a bit interesting to see how it works. Kuma is the second biggest buff, I'd say. They only changed his special, but this is very interesting. Kuma now does more damage, and he targets 2 enemies for his death ignoring attack. And I don't know if you tried Kuma, but Kuma's death ignoring attack is usually 1 guaranteed kill. So now that's potentially 2 guaranteed kills. It's basically like the death ignoring death attack. It's basically like Kid, Strength Kid, except it's reliable. So it might only hit a few enemies, but they are guaranteed to hit. Like Kid sometimes just misses everything. And Kuma actually has a bit better rumble abilities. They should have really buffed his rumble abilities as well. Not sure why they didn't. It's a shame. But the special buff is very good at least. And you can make the case for building strength teams out more aimed at this niche at ignoring death. Like you got Kuma, you got Kid, you got the legend Who's Who. Not that I recommend using him, but it's a niche that strength got going. Soren Sanji, another unit that never is used in PvP. And they just changed his special. This is another unit that should have got the rumble ability change as well. Usually ability is more important than special, at least for like I should call it like very few rumble units have insane specials, but you don't need an insane special to be good. What you need to be good is a rumble ability. Like you can have a mass special and still be good thanks to a good rumble ability, but with a bad rumble ability, your special needs to be insane. And most units just don't have insane specials. This is a good example. Basically targets Dex type teammates for attack up. Now it's level 6 for a bit longer. He also targets 2 enemies, little low current HP for attack 2.3 times now. Up to 2 times. Yeah, like Dex is just too good. This doesn't really fit anywhere. Smooth is interesting. They did decent updates to the PvP legends. What's really good here is that she does seated delay now to 2 enemies. That also adds a lot to the reliability aspects. But I'm disappointed with though that Vula made Smoothie really good is that they didn't change her targeting 1 enemy. If they changed her to targeting 2 enemies 2 times, that would have been huge. She would have been legit viable, I think. Now I still don't see any reason to use her personally. Probably more of a defense team oriented legend than offense, at least I'd say. Very minor buffs to the abilities, but better than nothing, I guess. Kizaru, PvP legend Kizaru. Also only got a buff to his special. Him doing more damage is nice, at least, because I felt like when using him that 1000 damage is way too little. 1500 will be noticeable in the long run. Like just after 2 specials, you've done 1000 more damage total. And it's also nice that they increase the duration of the buffs, I guess, but it's very low numbers. Should I just put them both to level 6 or something? Law, one of the most boring PvP legends to use in PvP, I'd say. And they didn't really do that much for him. He now targets enemies within large range for attack 2.4 times damage. Wait. That's actually a big buff. I actually didn't notice that. I'm so disinterested in this law. But yeah, that's like a whole new special actually. The question is if his rumble ability makes it worth though. HP up level 6 to Dex. Death up level 5 and remaining time less than 70 seconds. Yeah, it's not the worst, but the problem with this law is that Dex is already so good. I don't think this really changes anything, but it's interesting now for sure. Like that's a big damage buff. Yeah, to think about that, we might try this law again. It's so hard to fit everything on Dex teams. They have so many options. Luffy now, and he actually got a really cool buff to his special. Now he targets enemies within large range for 3000 set damage. That's pretty big. Targets 2 enemies for attack 2.45 times damage. Yeah, that's some big damage. 2.45 times damage. That's quite a lot of damage. And yeah, targets him for attack up. The main issue is the CT is still way too high. 38 CT is quite a yoke, to be honest. And yeah, his rumble ability is still not good, even if they added some defense to it now. Just weird to build with him too, with fighter slashers, even if both those are pretty viable. Still cool that they buffed these. And I don't think it's a coincidence that they buffed Luffy and V1 Kaido, since these randomly had Grand Party abilities and such. Then it mostly just was Super Sugos and stuff that got that. Now Kaido does more damage and has a bit lower CT. And his rumble ability has slightly... Oh, they had an HP up to him. That's actually pretty cool. And they also made him get a self-special CT speed up, which is nice. Still don't think he's particularly viable, but pretty cool. What I'm wondering here, because I see a trend with these rumble stat buffs, at least a slight trend. Okay, it's not a trend, but if we take the last 3, they have Grand Party stats. The rest do not. So I'm wondering if they are getting pre-buffs for the next batch of Grand Party stats. Might be possible. I'm pretty interested in they buffed V2 Sandy of everything. Like, I guess there is a bit of a fighter focus happening, but I wonder if V2 Sandy is in line for level limit break or such. Would be pretty interesting. But yeah, pretty cool buffs. Excited to try out a few of them, or well, as excited as I can be about PvP at least. Good buff for Garf. Good buff for Kuma. Maybe Law. And that's it, I guess. But yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.